Well, this was the main culprit of why we decided to make a new enclosure for the chickens. These squirrels just got really overcrowded, and they were eating all the grain and all the scratch, and they were pushing the eggs out of the nest and cracking them on the ground, and we just couldn't get rid of them humanely. Combined with the squirrels and the rats and the possums, we decided to make a new enclosure. Now here's a look at the typical evening. Rats running around after the lights go out and the sun goes down. The rats come out. That big square trap in the middle is where we caught the possum. You'll see that in a minute. And you can see them on the chain link fence there to the side, the right side, poking their heads out. So dealing with those, that's another reason we decided to convert. Well, I was certainly surprised to take the lid off of that cage and see this guy in there. I don't know how he got in. Didn't fit, but he was smashed in there and not very happy. So here I'm just letting him go. And away he goes to return again. Funny looking creatures. So about this point, we had 10 chickens, and we decided to expand the flock out to 14. So we got 4 new babies, and we started raising them in this aquarium in the bathtub, and then they graduated to this cage as they got a little bigger, and then they outgrew that cage pretty quickly. So then we introduced them to the greenhouse existing. Before we do any modifications to the greenhouse, we let them go in there just for an hour a day or something, let them run around and flex their wings, and boy did they love that. That was when the conversion began. You can still see the Lexan panels all faded there in the background. All that's going to come off and have a brand new enclosure that's hopefully rat and possum proof. So here we go. So this greenhouse is 10 feet by 24 feet, and it's covered with about between 4 or 5, some places up to 6 inches deep of this pea gravel. And I had to do a test here to see if I was going to shovel all that gravel out myself or going to hire somebody to do it. So here I am assessing the situation. And it took me about a minute to shovel out that one little spot. So I'm kind of starting to think I maybe be able to do this by myself.
All right, I had to take over a week off because it was between 98 and 111 there, and I'd only gotten 1.5 rows of screen on here. They're 48-inch wide rolls, and I'm going all the way over the top and down the other side all in one piece. So we got about a 1-inch 2 square overlap for each piece. Here, this is where the 2 greenhouses were mated together. So this is the 4th piece, putting on the 5th piece right now. So I got the roll of wire suspended on pipe between some bricks, and I pull out enough here to get a good pull up above, and then I've got 2 bungee straps up there. I climb up the ladder and I pull the cloth up over the peak and down the other side, hook the bungee cords on something down there on the frame, then come back down here and pull another loop, so I'm not having to pull the resistance of trying to unroll the fabric on that big old heavy roll. So it's working pretty good. This takes a little time, and got this one about ready to go over the peak, and then we'll do the last one. So I'll show you the whole process here. Okay, I've pulled up all the slack on the roll, and I need about 3 or 4 feet more on the other side, so I'm gonna just pull a little bit off the roll. Over here, I'm leaving about 2-inch overlap to bend and screwing it down to the pressure treated wood down there. So this is the next one coming down. So you gotta pull it down until I got about 2 inches more than I need, and then I attach it with a couple screws. Then I can start pulling the slack up back over the top and putting some tension on it on the other side.
In case you're wondering, I use these self-drilling lath screws. They're my favorite go-to screws around the property. And you can see here in this holder, I keep a variety of sizes. They make them in like 1/8 increment. Really handy.
And I got my 2 square overlap right there. I'll throw a screw in right there to hold it in place.
So everywhere we had the overlap of the 2 pieces of hardware cloth, we had to stitch it to the frame. And it was a lot easier with 2 people, one on the inside, one on the outside, feeding it through to each other. So this is just one section. I'm showing that, but we had to do all the spots where the hardware cloth overlap.
So in the time this has been here as a greenhouse, this is a bank, and it erodes dirt down and had piled up in some areas 8 inches thick against the base of the greenhouse here. So I'm going to put this roof flashing in here. Got all the wire cloth attached down there. Put that roof flashing there and screw it down really secure to the board, and then that will do 2 things. One will help keep this hardware cloth down there attached, and it'll also give that dirt something to pile up against.
Now here I'm using those metal zip ties. They're pretty nice little gadgets to when you need something really strong. I'm attaching this heavy duty wire over the outside of the hardware cloth to keep the coyotes, bobcats, and possums from getting to that small wire. Because if they can get to that small wire, they could rip a hole in it. But I have 5 feet tall of this heavy duty wire on the outside of that, so just extra reinforcement.
These are double sliding doors on the ends of these greenhouses. That's one door. Here's the other one. They're not real strong at all. They're just really flimsy. They're not designed to keep in or out any animals. The whole greenhouse is, you can see it. It's just not real strong. But these sliding doors do seal real well, like that. And this will all be covered with the hardware cloth, so I can keep the little critters out. But these doors would not keep out even the mildly curious coyote or raccoon. So what I'm gonna do is seal it up from the little critters with the wire, and then this gate is gonna go on here and keep the big critters from getting to the door. So I can't rely on the structural integrity of the door to keep any big critters from just ripping the door right off the greenhouse. So this gate will keep the critters, the big ones, coyotes, raccoons and such, from getting to that door. Pretty happy the way it came out. Got a dual latch here, and then this inner door slides. This will be covered with screen. This is going to be pretty rodent proof. Hopefully no mice or rats can find their way in. And then this will protect it from the coyotes, foxes and possums and things like that, raccoons. Yeah, we pulled that plastic back and look what we found. This nice looking tarantula. So we had to take a time out for a minute and catch him and relocate him to a new home. Send him on his way. Well, after I got that first side all shoveled out, it was really hot out and it was killing me. I had to take a lot of breaks, so we decided to halt that part of the process and put this tarp up, give myself a little bit of shade. This tarp had to go up eventually anyway, so it seemed like a good time to do it.
Yeah, there you can see all that nice shade I'm working in now. Makes it a lot nicer.
Well, shoveled this whole side out in about a couple hours, 2-3 hours at the most. Took me 3 or 4 days to do the other side. That was a lot hotter then. All the wires on, all the screens on, all the fencing is around, wrapped around, the awning's up, the shade's there, the gravel's gone. I think we're ready to move some chickens in here and see how they do.
Well, the first occupants are those same 4 little babies you saw earlier that were in the bathtub. Well, here we are at the end of day 1 with all 14 chickens and all their little houses moved in here. Everybody seems to be doing well. So here it is a couple of months after completion. And you can see what we've done. Excuse me. Alright, so starting over here, we've got the bunny. She was getting lonely by herself, so I put her in here with the chickens. They get along great. This is the bunnies area. And we've changed things a little bit over on this side. We got rid of that animal crate and we just went with 2 laying boxes. This one here, which is in use right now. Good morning. I put these perches up here. Now these pipes up here running lengthwise, that one and this one are not part of the greenhouse construction. I put those in to hang pots from when this was a greenhouse. And that's where the chickens go. They actually go to that top one, which they barely fit between that and the peak of the roof. Or a couple of them perch on this lower one, but most of them sleep every night in that top pole, on that top pole there. And they're as happy as can be, as high as they can get in here. That's what they do. Whatever they can, the highest thing they can get on, that's what they're going to go for. We had originally 2 waterers and 2 feeders, but once everybody got comfortable with each other, that became a little bit extra maintenance, so I cut it down to 1 waterer and 1 feeder. They're working great. And then we got their food and their scratch and the bunny food in these cans. And this is where we collect the eggs. And that's how it wound up. I've got 3 of these Wi-Fi cams One way in the corner, one right here, and one in this corner. So we can keep an eye on everything. Whenever we want, we can see how everybody's doing down here. That's it. That's where we are today. Working great. Nothing's gotten in yet. No rats and no mice. I check almost every night once it's dark. And well, you can see them. Their little eyes glow in those cameras. And not a single rat or mouse has gotten into here. And every other day or so I walk around the whole outside and check all the wire and screen, make sure nothing tried to break in. Well, I hope this helps somebody. If they're thinking about making a chicken coop, get an idea how to make it varmint proof. You got the critters, the little critters. The hardware cloth will keep them out. But if you have a problem with anything like coyotes, possums, raccoons, bobcats that we have here constantly, they're around here every night on our other cameras around the property. If you have those bigger critters, you're gonna have to put some structural wiring around the outside to keep them from breaking in. Well, if you're still with us, thanks for hanging around to the end. I know this got really long, but I didn't want to make it into multiple videos. I wanted to show the whole thing at once. I really appreciate you hanging around and checking out our channel. If you got a second, give us a subscribe and a like, and we'll see you next time.